Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Inshallah, today we will continue from where we stopped in our chapter that we started last week. And the chapter is all about the Islamic rulings related to wiping over the khuf, that is leather socks and other footwear or other barriers. So today we want to look into the conditions, شروط المسح على الخفين. Before we can wipe over our leather socks, what are the conditions that must be met and fulfilled? The first one mentioned here is أن يكون الإنسان حال لبسهما على طهارة من الحدث. Someone should be in a state of purity when wearing the leather socks, okay? So because there is an hadith from Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when one Sahaba wanted um, to remove the khuf of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam while performing the ablution, the Prophet stopped him and said to him, "Leave them. I put them on while I was in a state of purity." So this means that we should be in a state of purity before we put those khuf on, if we want to do mashu. Another shurut, the second one is أن يكون الخف ونحوه مباحا. Permissibility of the footwear. The footwear must be permissible, which means that it shouldn't be um prohibited footwear, maybe from where it was made, or maybe the from where it was bought, or the method through the hoof was bought. Maybe the hoof was stolen, okay, or maybe the hoof was made of silk and so on. For iman, silk for iman is haram and so on. So the hoof must be permissible before we can do al-mash, wiping over it. Why the third one is أن يكون الخف ونحوه ساترا للرجل. So it must cover the area that must be washed in our leg or our foot rather. So these are the four shurut that we must fulfill before we can do wiping over our leather socks. Now let's also talk about wiping over other things aside from hoof. Is it permissible in Islam to wipe over other things? The third, wiping is permitted over anything that serves as the same function as hoof. Okay, so wiping over thick socks that cover the foot, whether it was made up of wool or other material, is permissible in Islam, because it was reported that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wiped over socks and sandals in the narration that was narrated by Ahmad and others and authenticated by At-Tirmidhi. Lastly, is it permissible to wipe over turban while performing ablution? Yes, it is permissible to wipe over turban while performing the ablution. But there are two conditions that must be met before we can wipe over turban that we wear on our head. The first thing is أن تكون ساترة لما لم تجر العادة بكشف من الرأس. It must cover what is customarily not uncovered of the head. Okay? While the second one is أن تكون العمامة محنكة. The turban must be محنكة, meaning that it must be a wrapped turban under the what? It must wrap the chin. Okay, so or turban that has a tail, that would aba. So if we wear that kind of turban, okay, and the turban also cover where it must cover customarily on our head, then we are good to go with the wiping over the turban. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.